everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them, and I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that I have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. Before we get started, something I don't see very often. In fact, I hardly have ever seen it, and it's the first time I've in covering the X-Men that I've seen this, and it's screen tone being applied to the side of the logo. I've never seen that before on any title, so let me know in the comments if you've seen screen tone applied to the logo. So we are continuing our run of X-Men, and we're going to be doing two videos today, and we're going to be looking at the Uncanny X-Men 233 and 234. During this era, it was on sale twice a month, so I decided let's just do one longer video. And so great cover by Marc Silvestri, and the Brood have never looked better. Dan Green, his cohort, rest in peace, Dan Green, Colossus, and the Brood here. So, had Dave Cockrum drawn the Brood so menacing, I may not have thought they were the stupidest things in the world. They actually look barbaric and menacing. I just had such a hard time in the issues of Uncanny X-Men where they went to battle the Brood on their planet, just taking these things seriously. I really did not care for them. So, but Marc Silvestri is capable of drawing anything, and he does. So, all right. So, real quick, I have a playlist. I have started covering everything with Classic X-Men #1. And we are now all the way to X-Men 233 and 234. I have a playlist for the X-Men. Includes annuals, includes everything. I have playlist for the New Mutants. I have playlist for X Factor. And I have a one where everything is put in there, all in reading order. Wolverine's in there. Wolverine also has one. All sorts of stuff. Playlist up the wazoo. Feel free to check them out. So, if you remember from the last issue, the X-Men are surrounded by the Brood who have infected these people. Just looks so awesome. And so, Dawn of Blood is the title here. Chris Claremont, Marc Silvestri, and Dan Green, Tomas Zakowski, one of the top 3 letters of all time. And Ann Nocenti has been replaced as editor. Ann Nocenti is now, actually, by this time, I think she is done writing. No, she continues writing Daredevil until Inferno. So she is writing Daredevil during this time. So here we go. The X-Men are gonna fight the Brood, and we're just kind of moving along. The Brood are able to possess people, and that is exactly what they did. You can see here, this guy grabs Storm, pushes Storm down, and this one here, Temptress. The other guy was Tension. Doesn't matter. We never use them again. So Temptress uses pheromones to try and possess Storm into her will. Don't you feel better? Yes. Don't you just adore me? Yes. Won't you do simply anything I ask to make me happy? She's about to say yes, but then screams no and leaves. Psylocke can't even get a hold of her. And this guy here gets wings, calls himself Dive Bomber, and he's going to go after them. And Havoc says, I've got a clear shot, but if I use my powers, I'll kill him. Because after all, he doesn't whether they don't know or whatever, they think that perhaps they can get rid of the brood and make the dude human again. So he doesn't want to kill him here. Now, real quick, look at this jawline. This is Joker level jawline here. All right, continue with the fight, but as Rogue fights the Temptress, touches her skin, which of course means that they are going to absorb her powers and psyche. Psylocke was telepathically linked, and so she has taken control of Psylocke as well. And this part is really cool. Taps Wolverine on the shoulder and then punches him. And now Wolverine is like, what the heck? How do I fight them without harming them? So I love this. Wham, bam, crunch, bash, pow, crack. And Colossus is fighting this dude here. Super strong. And the other guy is like, I always win. I love this to kind of create an emphasis on the word balloons. Colossus is like Havoc. He doesn't want to cause the humans any harm here. And so they're trying to possess Wolverine here. And this guy says, poor heroes, hamstrung by their own ideals. They won't kill people they believe to be innocent victims of the brood. They'll do everything in their power to save us, which will prove their ultimate undoing. But then they're like, except Wolverine. He'll kill his pals if he has to. So, all right. So they bring Wolverine down, and this guy says, no use struggling. Sorry, that's Rogue. You're paralyzed, helpless as a baby. And you know, X-Men, what happens next. So they're about to infect Wolverine. And we'll see on the next cover how amazing that is. So if you remember on the previous issue, we've got that ministry that is coming to Denver. They're setting up shop, feeding homeless. They're the paramedics are getting ready, in case they're needed here. And so this is that Brood's partner. So it says here, Jesse Thomas, who's Harry Palmer's partner. Harry Palmer is that main Brood. So the minister here is looking out at the stars. His wife brought him some coffee. She's got her hands shake and some kind of disability that she has. I love the dry brush being applied here by Dan Green. Again, rest in peace. He is one of the best inkers out there. Terry Austin, Tom Palmer, to name two of the great ones. And I think Dan Green is in there. And Dan Green has been a force for a long time. He was with John Romita Jr. He's been just constant. He's been now with Marc Silvestri, and he'll follow Marc Silvestri to Wolverine. All right, and so here we go. So here's again bringing the shaking here, and he wants to help her but can't. You can see that she loves him. Back in the city, they got the fight here, and man, these brews are menacing. I'm telling you, way better than Dave Cockrum. I know that sounds sacrilege, by the way. Rest in peace, Dave Cockrum. But they look menacing. They actually look like characters I would care about. So Storm has gotten rid of the pheromones, but here's Dive Bomber behind her, and of course he can't get to her but sees an airplane and knows that she's gonna try to save it, so he gets rid of one engine and says, well, we'll get rid of another one. So boom, and people are like, crap, we're dead. And so of course they're going down. Storm hits him out of the way and then uses her powers to create an updraft to slow it down and get it to land safely, and then creates a drenching storm to get the fires extinguished. But she is hit. Now, we're going to have a dream here. That's what these panels are. And we are going to be looking at Madelyne Pryor here, of how free she was, love. It's got Cyclops here and her son, how in love they were, and everything was really good. Now, for some reason, so this part is not in. This part is happening. You can see by the way the panel is. So this is where we are. We are in the Australian outback, and Gateway is checking on her, and he is inside her mind for some reason. Now, this part I don't particularly understand. I know this is setting up Inferno, but I don't really understand why Gateway or Chris Claremont has Gateway doing this. But you can see Gateway uses his power here to open a portal here, and that blows up the house. Cyclops hits him but doesn't do anything, and now it's a blank figure with boobs. He kisses her, and he's gonna take the wings from Maddie and says, "You're not special, you're only human." And so he gets rid of the wings, then takes the baby and gives it to her, then takes the hair and gives it to her. Of course, he's making Jean Grey here. The nose, the eyes, you just don't need it. Look at this. Now, if those of you who watch my videos on X Factor know how I feel about how Cyclops was portrayed, and he's a freaking jerk, and he left. And so Madelyne Pryor has every right to feel the way that she does. He abandoned his family to go pursue Jean Grey. And so the two of them are together now in X Factor and leave Madelyne, and she is now nothing. And it says here, in a nowhere place, abandoned and alone. So, all right. So that part, that is it. So it'll continue. But for now, for the rest of this issue, that's it. And so X-Men still fighting the Brood. Again, Marc Silvestri is great. Storm is coming. Fighting the dive bomber. They go through that sign. And he's going to kill Storm. Or no, not kill her. Sorry. They're going to make her the host, the Queen's host. And Havoc is having none of it. Shazam. Almost Shazam. It's missing the A. But ends up killing this guy. And then that warehouse where Colossus and Brickbat, that was the name of that Brood, were fighting. And out of it comes Colossus, throwing the Brood away. This is a very bestial Colossus here. And so, 2 down. And so, Harry here says, let's regroup. Those heroes want blood. We'll give them their own, he says. And so, the guy here now goes from Brood to human. And Havoc, of course, feels sad that he killed them, but they're like, we have to stop them. Storm says whoever he was, his life ended the moment he was implanted with a Brood egg. You merely put him out of his misery and perhaps saved others from sharing his fate. And so she continues here. This man deserved to be mourned, Alex, but it was Harry Palmer who killed him, not you. And I think Havoc says, and those others, the rest of that Brood gang, what about them? And Storm says, if one survives, my friend, especially the Queen host, the Earth is doomed. And so, in 2 weeks, Glory Day, but we don't have to wait 2 weeks. X-Men 234 with a really, really, really great cover with great colors. I have actually done an homage to this cover. I have a drawing in my social media platforms that I did um, of um, of this image. I found it, and so I did an homage to that cover here. Nowhere near as good as what Marc Silvestri did. It pales in it, but I decided to kind of give it a try here. So, but look at how great Marc Silvestri does this. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. I actually have two copies of this. No, three copies of this cover. So, all right. So we are still in Denver, of course. Like the little Porsche here, little dry brushing being done here, and these guys are kissing, which is gonna be funny because they're gonna be kissing this entire time. And so we see this light, which means, of course, Dazzler. We've got our um title Glory Day. Now we do have a different inker for this issue in Joseph Rubinstein. Everybody else though remains the same. And here Dazzler's fighting this Brood guy, although he's human here. And we're we get a lot of exposition how she uses her powers. She takes sound and makes it into light. This guy grabs it here. These two continue kissing this entire time. This guy here, I think his name is Spitfire. Love the coloring being done. Hits everybody. And so you can see that they are, look at that. I mean, Chris Claremont gave everybody a name here. And this guy's going to try to help, but he disappeared. The Brood disappears, but then appears behind him. And they continue to kiss here. And suddenly we're going to have the appearance of Longshot, who is coming to help. But they grabbed him, but he smiles because behind him, again, look at that chin, is Colossus. And Colossus is brutal now. Colossus goes from being sweet guy to doing everything it takes. Grabs this guy and snap. And then this guy gets destroyed here. So Rogue is still a bad guy, and so they take off. Like these two, like what? And then they go back to the kissing. Now we're back to the Outback, and Maddie had her dream gateway is still with her, and he is watching her in her dream. And here she gets at a crossroads here, and chooses a side. And when the sun melts, she becomes her own person. Now, Madelyne Pryor, just the quick thing, was originally supposed to be just Madelyne Pryor, but when they brought Phoenix and through the evolution of storytelling, once they brought Jean Grey back, Chris Claremont decided to make some changes in her. But eventually she was retconned to such a degree. So she is now officially a clone of Jean Grey through retconning. So she was created by Mr. Sinister so that her and Cyclops would breed and their child would be a powerful mutant, which is Cable. So that is in a nutshell what her origin, how her character was retconned. But originally Chris Claremont just had her as just a regular person who just happened to have similarities to Jean. So anyway, so she falls into this water and comes through, and Sim from the New Mutants, the Sim that is with Magic in Limbo, talks with her, and Look at this. This thing is drinking here. Sim grabs it and turns it into like a little goal. I like that. Squee. So, um, anyway, and so look at the different versions of Maddie Pryor, and you can see that she could be anyone, but Sim is going to hit her. He's going to put that dark seed in her. And when he does, that is going to, and you can see that the uniform here is now the one for the Goblin Queen that will come later in Inferno. So it is Sim who corrupted her um, to become the Goblin Queen. So there you go. Maddie Pryor in 5 minutes. All right, back to the oh my goodness, whatever the service that they're gonna have here. They're still talking about her arthritis here, her hands shaking. They're like, hey, it's time to speak. He wishes he could do something else for his wife. And so he's gonna go preach, and then comes the partner. Remember, she's a brood. Now, well, I'll explain it at the end. Okay, so here they come. They think they have Wolverine unconscious, but it's not. He ends up killing her, and Rogue throws him down. I like it when they say meteors have hurled to the earth with less force. And so she throws him. Of course, his bones are laced with adamantium, and he's got a healing factor, so it doesn't kill him. That allows, or not allows, but that gives her like a psionic thing, and she's like, Temptress is dead. Rogue tried to kill Wolverine, and this guy sees in there, and he's like, you wearing a seatbelt? And suddenly Colossus in there. So I think this is the second golden age of the X-Men. Chris Claremont and John Byrne was the first. This era with Marc Silvestri being the second. I don't know if the Jim Lee era is. I know that a lot of people remember it fondly, but Chris Claremont and Jim Lee really didn't have a lot of issues because Chris Claremont was taken off the book, and then Jim Lee left. Although Jim Lee does have a nice little run, it wasn't as long as it could have been, I think, with Claremont, but he should have stuck around, and it's one of his biggest regrets here. So, anyway, once that car crash happened, Psylocke starts to kind of regain her composure again. Rogue's still evil, and she's like, "You're gonna be the host, the queen." Here comes Psylocke and I'm sorry, Dazzler and Longshot, and she's gonna use her powers. They're moving too fast. I don't want to hit Rogue, or sorry, I don't want to hit Storm, and so she ends up hitting Rogue. And look at that, bam, 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 light show. And so here is Wolverine coming to the stage. And he's telling people to stay away. You can see the Brood is starting to become, and they're like, he must be a mutant. He's like, I don't care. And Wolverine's like, listen to me. You can do nothing. You can do growing aside me, eating me alive. And he's like, starts to pray, casting out the demon. And he's like, too late. And he guy goes, merciful heaven. I love this. This just looks. Behold, human, the shape of your world to come. Such a shame you won't be alive to see it. And so they start to fight. He tries to do like an exorcism. He's like, fool, you puny, pathetic words are no salvation. And then he goes, no, not now, not so close to victory. And so the healing factor is really what saved him. And the guy continues to pray. And then he goes, what price now, monster, my puny, pathetic words? So, pretty cool. Minister thinks he did it. It was kind of Wolverine, but I don't know. I like this. I really like this. There was respect still with religion and stuff, even in the late 80s. So all right. So now this guy grabs the minister, and Havoc has to kill him. He goes, I didn't even hesitate. It's true what they say. Once you start killing it, each becomes easier. So they're about to get him, and Longshot rescues him. This thing's gonna fall, falls on them, and he's got the misses. And Wolverine is gonna go underneath the stage, grabs him and yanks him down. I like that yank. And he says here, only two things in life are certain, and this ain't taxes. He grabs him here and he turns into the human. He's like, "What do you go on? What have you people done to me?" And Wolverine says, "You don't understand, bub. Harry Palmer died a long time ago. Now at last he'll have a chance to rest in peace." And although they don't show it, he pops the freaking claws. How freaking amazing. The X-Men were so good again. And so her hands are healed because she has a brood egg. Now, Chris Claremont is known for having these long subplots. He never got a chance to go to this story, but in the early 90s, there was a 2-issue limited series drawn by Brian Hitch. I forgot who wrote it, which follows up with The Brood. I will see after I'm done with the Chris Claremont universe storylines if I can cover that story, which is dealing with them. And so she's back, and the guy makes a good speech about mutants and humans. She smiles because she put the Brood on her, and she's still around, so it lets us know that the Brood are still a thing. And so we get to the last part here now. I don't think they showed the X-Men, although that is impossible because Wolverine was in the middle of a televised thing. But anyway, Havoc goes, or Wolverine tells him, you did good. And he's like, why? Because I killed? And he's like, because you did what had to be done. And he goes, if that's supposed to make me feel proud, sorry, Wolverine, I'm afraid all I am right now is sick. And he leaves, and we get Maddie on the floor bleeding from, so Sim really did infect her. So the evil will begin to grow. So next, A Green and Pleasant Land. So we will cover those on the next video. So Uncanny X-Men 233 and 234, Chris Claremont and Marc Silvestri, with Dan Green and Joseph Rubinstein on this one. Like and subscribe. I do thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.